Boom, here we go. Welcome back, everybody. Nice little turnout today, even though we're in between Christmas and New Year's and all that good stuff. For those of you who celebrate Christmas, hope you had a good one. I certainly did. Full on winter over here, so that's been nice. Today, probably, as we said before we joined, we'll probably have a slightly smaller turnout. We were a bit late to announce this thing, and again, we are in between holidays. Bedejo and Martin are probably not going to join us today, but we thought we'd keep these moving. So as you may know, I'm the CMO at JS Genesis, so we can talk about some marketing questions that that came up on the last call that we didn't get to. And of course, the king of the founding members program is here. So anything founding members related, we'll definitely chat about as well. I believe there were some questions for you on that in that regard. First of all, you guys want to let us know in the chat, where are you calling in from? It's good to gauge where the activity is happening from, even though I can guess it's going to be a little bit of Ukraine, a little bit of Russia, and some random, some Portuguese developers and stuff like that. But let us know in the chat, guys, where are you calling in from? And Ben, I think I'll give a quick update as far as what I've been working on. I don't know if you want to do the same as well, but just to let people in on what's happening behind the scenes, marketing-wise. So I've been doing a lot of investor calls, as I have been sharing with you guys in the Discord. As you may or may not know, we have a lot of investors now. I think there's like over 40 plus investors, which is really cool. And so what we're doing is I'm connecting with all of them to see what kind of resources they have available to us sort of for marketing purposes, whether it's sort of media outlet connections so we can get featured in nice, press and media outlets that you guys are all familiar with. So that's what I'm kind of baking right now. I'm trying to see what's available to us so we can hit the news outlets pretty hard, hopefully, or in January, because we are going to first and foremost announce the investment round that we finished recently. Obviously, could have done that a while ago. We just haven't had the time to sit down and do it right. So that's happening probably in January, and I think that is a pretty cool event that we can use to potentially get some sort of general attention on the project. So I do want to go all out as much as I can on that and try to get us in as many media outlets as we can and influencers in the, crypto Twitter and all of that good stuff. Other than that, I'm working on our onboarding. As you guys may also know, when people find out about Joystream, it's kind of like overwhelming to figure out the project and how it all works. So we are working on a pretty sick onboarding experience to take somebody from not knowing anything to getting to a place where they can see how they kind of fit into the picture, potentially get interested in wanting to get involved and contribute to the platform. And so that's happening, which means I'm writing scripts and whatnot, which is actually, it's funny sometimes how things that seem random in your background can come back to end up being useful. So for me, I ran a explainer video agency many years ago. So I was writing these kind of explainer video scripts all the time. And now here I am kind of writing explainer video scripts about, Joystream. So it's pretty funny. But yeah, we're reviewing those and then we'll be moving ahead with that. And then, like I said, I'm kind of getting the ball rolling a bit on different marketing campaigns. So we, as you may know, Joystream as a whole, or JS Genesis, have not really focused on marketing much up until this point, which is kind of refreshing in the crypto space. Usually it's like 99% marketing, 1% product. And here it's like 100% product, like 0% marketing, but we're here to change that. So we are going to do some really cool campaigns starting, I don't know, onboarding first, but Q1 of 2022, we'll be doing actual marketing campaigns that are planned out, getting influencers on board, potentially putting a fair amount of funds behind it. And it'll be fun. It'll be good for the project. So that's just a little bit about what I've been working on personally. I think we'll turn over to Ben and just get a little bit of an update of what he's been working on. And then we'll dig into some questions and then we'll be out of here. It should be a bit shorter today. And if you guys do have questions, you'll have to raise your hand and then we can invite you to unmute yourself, basically. But yeah, Ben, what's been happening with you? Any updates you want to share with everybody?
I think I'm going to struggle to be sound quite as impressive as the stuff that you're working on, to be honest. But I have done a little bit on the handbook, which we're working on, which is to try and part of the onboarding that you're doing as well, which is to try and improve the sort of documentation side of it and consolidate everything in a slightly more easy to digest format in terms of the roles and everything, really. So yeah, I'm working on a kind of community handbook at the moment. And I'm also just trying to get the founding member data out as quickly as possible on the community side as well. So sorry for the late on that. I've been on holiday for a little while, so that should account for that.
So lazy, man.
Yeah.
How dare you take 3 days off?
Yes. So yep, that's from me. I guess I should pass it back to you. I don't know if you want to start with the marketing questions.
I can do that.
Perfect.
That's fine. Cool, guys. Thanks for the comments. By the way, Portugal, Turkish streamers are also here. Very cool. And Russia, of course. Got a nice, sizable Russian-speaking community. So, oops. View speaker. Okay, cool. All right. So I had, I believe, 2 questions that were submitted last time for the marketing side of things. So I guess I'll kind of read those out to you guys. And if you do have questions for us as we are sort of talking through these things, feel free to drop them in the chat. And then if you want, after you drop the question in the chat, then we can invite you to come on. And if you want to sort of have a back and forth, we're happy to do that. But I think we'll just stick to questions in the chat for now. So here's the question. Actually, I'll read it and I'll post it in the chat here too if you guys want to read it, because it's not the best phrase question, to be honest. But across the crypto world, early testnets are boasting, sparking hype. There are also modest but high quality projects, but there is a tangible marketing everywhere. Let's say an eco project. Is ECO a term or is it eco project, Ben? Is that a term in crypto?
It's a project. It's it's got a testnet. I think it's
okay.
Yes,
anyway,
it's got
it has a system of points created for research purposes. They can be obtained for a lot of efforts, as if not always associated with the development of the project. I really like the path that Joystream is taking, but maybe we need to combine marketing. To find a lot of motivated and qualified workers for the mainnet, you need to weed out from large numbers of people. By the way, the system with eco points is available for deployment on other Discord servers. So if I were to summarize that question, he's basically saying also, which is like, why aren't you guys doing more marketing? And as we have sort of addressed before, JS Genesis just didn't really have the marketing person on staff. And so I've joined, but I am focused on the onboarding right now. And as soon as that's done, it'll be all kind of focused on bringing more attention on the project and whatnot. It doesn't mean that we'll just default to doing what everybody else is doing, sort of low-hanging fruit type of stuff, just to get any type of attention on the project. We'll probably be a bit more, careful about planning it and sort of making sure that we actually try to attract the right type of people. And I think for now, we can probably all agree that the right type of person is not necessarily maybe like a token investor, but more somebody who wants to like contribute to the DAO and like want to get involved in the project long term and that sort of thing. So, if the question is like, why aren't you guys doing more marketing? Just hang tight. It's coming. Onboarding first, we got a leaky bucket, which is like people find out about the project and then it's too much to sort of take in. So we're fixing that first. And then we will be doing proper marketing campaigns. We'll bring a lot of attention on the project. And again, I'm also talking to all the investors to see what's available to us. And we've got some really great investors as far as sort of connections and whatnot. It's just, it needs a little bit of planning and that sort of thing before we actually do anything with it. But first and foremost, we should see hopefully funding announcement in January is my goal. And then there was another question here. There's only 2 questions for me and 2 questions for Ben, so I'll post this one in the chat as well. As far as I understand, we're about to launch a marketing program. In this regard, a question: what target audience are we going to target in the beginning? Obviously, Joystream does not need to lure the subscribers of YouTube, and therefore I would like to know who we'll target in the first place, second, etc., and what marketing tools we're going to use in this program. Kind of touched on that, but I would say we have different audiences. We have people who contribute to the DAO, which at this point in time I would say is probably most valuable, because once we go on mainnet and sort of shut down JS Genesis, we're going to want to make sure that there's a lot of people here to sort of keep running the show. Then we have creators, I would say is the next one, video creators. But as the question kind of alluded to, it says, Joystream does not need to lure the subscribers of YouTube. And I think you're saying basically like, we will need those people at some point, but maybe not right now. So first we need contributors, then we'll need sort of video creators on Atlas. And then you can think of like investors as another audience. And then also finally sort of other entrepreneurs or DApp builders, I guess, to build on top of Joystream. Because as you guys know, Joystream is like the technology, right? That you can actually build on top of, and Atlas is just one of the gateways, you could call it. So we'll probably, hopefully see some really cool applications built on top of Joystream. So first and foremost, yeah, I guess general attention, right? Just people in the crypto sphere finding out about the project, but fundamentally, the number one group we definitely want to attract is sort of people that are into DAOs and are perhaps contributing in other DAOs, because I think they're most likely to sink their teeth into Joystream and want to contribute there as well. And then the sort of sub question here is, what marketing tools are we going to use in this program? I'm not sure what that's asking about, because I doubt that you actually care about like what's the tech stack that I'm using behind the scenes to like track, any type of activity. So I would imagine you're probably asking more about what type of campaign it'll be, and I just don't have the answer right now. So basically, what's happening is I have a doc where I just, every time I have an idea, I put it in the doc, and then hopefully in January as well, I'll have a sit down with Ben, probably with Mateusz, our designer, with Bedejo, sort of a marketing team effort, and just brainstorm all the different ideas that we have. And let's throw one idea out there that we've been tossing around, by the way. I would love to hear you guys' thoughts on this, by the way. I don't know if you guys are familiar with a project called BitClout. They had an interesting concept, which is basically decentralized, social platforms, kind of like Twitter or Facebook. And one of the things they did, which was part genius, part controversial, and part, sketchy, which was they scraped the 10,000 most popular Twitter profiles. They created accounts for them on their own, BitClout platform. So they reserved, let's say, the profile for, I don't know, who's like a good, Mark Cuban, maybe. Hopefully you guys know who Mark Cuban is. He's a celebrity who's into crypto, right? So they made sure that Mark Cuban's profile and his username and his handle that he's using on Twitter was also reserved on BitClout. Now, every profile on BitClout is also a token or a coin, the same way that channels on Atlas in Joystream, are going to be able to have their own token. So what happened was people were able to speculate or actually purchase, Mark Cuban tokens effectively, while Mark Cuban was not actually himself signed up to use the platform, which was part sketchy because that kind of gave the tokens, or like BitClout sort of had custody of the tokens or the money that was invested into the Mark Cuban profile when Mark Cuban was nowhere to be found. So there was a lot of articles which is basically saying like, hey, that's kind of messed up, which I can kind of see the argument for that. The brilliance of it all was it's kind of like you saying to somebody like, hey, I got all these people here. Like, they've given you a bunch of money. All you have to do to claim the money is just go unlock your profile. So that's kind of smart. But then to add to that, in order to actually unlock their profile, in order to verify who they are, or that in order for Mark Cuban to verify that he is in fact Mark Cuban, they asked him to tweet something. So now you got all these celebrities and influencers tweeting about the project in order to get verified. But of course, the side effect of that is that all of their followers now find out about the project. So we haven't discussed this at length, but we think there's potentially something there, doing something similar with a little bit more finesse in Atlas. So the idea would be, let's just say, to bring in, let's say, 10,000 or 1,000 of the most popular YouTubers and reserving their name, allowing people to perhaps invest in the token for those channels, but for Joystream or JS Genesis to be sort of completely removed for that, in a sense where we would not have access to any investments that have been made. That way you kind of kill the argument of like, hey, that's kind of messed up of you, basically taking investment under somebody else's name. So you kind of remove that side of it, but you still have all of the benefits of, number one, the actual benefit of PewDiePie not having to be like first on a platform to actually reserve his name. So like there's an actual benefit to that. And then also the sort of marketing side of it, of like figuring out some type of mechanism of PewDiePie verifying his Atlas channel by somehow, telling the world about Joystream. So anyway, I hope you guys understand. Ben, was that clear? Kind of how I explained that, or? Yeah. So I love your thoughts in the comments or in the chat, what you guys think about something along those lines. But it's a cool idea for now. We haven't discussed it at length, but we're all kind of like, we see potential promise in doing something like that. But yeah, I think that's all really on the marketing side. So to kind of summarize, I'm focused on the onboarding for now. The next step for us, sort of marketing wise, which would be the actual first real sort of marketing activity, in my opinion, will be the funding announcement. And with that, trying to maximize the press. And then after that, we'll be putting actual, marketing campaigns together where people will be incentivized to like tweet about us, follow us, and all that sort of stuff. And you'll see some significant activity over the next 3 months. That's for sure. Well, I don't want to say that's for sure because nothing's for sure, but that's the intention. And then we'll hope that that's what happens. So yeah, I think I'll turn it over to Ben. Ben, do you have your questions there? And again, guys, we will be pretty short today. So if you do have any questions, we can take those. Just put them in the chat first. And let's let Ben answer the questions that came in for him. And we'll take it from there. So
yeah, so definitely, guys, put any more questions if you've got any. I've got two pretty short ones, actually. So I think this will be pretty quick answers as well. So I've posted that one here as well. Oh, no. Have I direct messaged that someone? I don't know. Is that in the chat that I've just posted this message, or have I just? Sorry. There we go.
No, they're good. No, you didn't post it.
There we go. Sorry. How many people make the decision
Gotcha.
to add someone to founding members? Is it only Ben? Yes, basically. I was reading this and I was trying to work out where this is coming from exactly. So I guess maybe people are wondering why sometimes people with a lot of points don't always become founding members. And I'd say probably the main reason for that would be the intensity of the activity. So I think some people have been frustrated because they've been doing quite a lot of like, I don't want to use the term like low impact because I think it doesn't really describe it necessarily accurately, but it's if you're doing sort of lower level stuff for a really long period of time, you can actually build up quite a lot of points, but I wouldn't necessarily then think that qualifies you for being a founding member. So if you've been here since like January and you're getting 300 points per period, then you'd probably have like 8,000 or something by now, a really high number. But so I have had people talk to me about this, and I think the thing is, if you're a new person coming in and you're getting 2,000 points per period, or it's really obvious that you're doing like extremely significant contributions on the test net or otherwise, then that's probably what's going to make me think this person would be a good founding member, not just the raw number there, because that doesn't always necessarily describe the sort of intensity or quality of your activity necessarily over the full term, I'd say. So as I say, I don't really know where that question was necessarily coming from, but if it was based on that, then that would be my answer.
I think maybe they're trying to figure out who to butter up.
Yeah, it might be a bribery type question. So yeah, it is just me. So, but
here's my email address. Yeah.
One thing I would also say is that the founding member program is very much in flux at the moment, and there's a chance that it will be overhauled significantly. I mean, this is not a small probability. There's a chance that the points will start to be awarded on a slightly more automatic kind of basis. So yeah, there's a proposal actually in the marketing repo that you might want to look at, guys, if you're interested in that. So the incentives version 3 thing that Badejo's puts down. So if you've got any thoughts on that, that's probably useful to look at. And obviously in that proposal, there's no founding member program at all, really. It kind of evolves from there. So yeah, that's worth looking at maybe. But the founding member program is in a lot of flux, and I think focusing maybe on the like who's giving the points maybe isn't the right place to look, because that it probably won't be the case forever. And also, yeah, well, that's basically it. Okay, so question 2. This is going to be very quick. Will the allocation that the founding members receive for points need to be paid, or will it be free? So yeah, it's $1 million for each to unlock. No, not really. It's free. So obviously you don't have to pay for. Yeah, the idea behind the founding member program is, I think I've said this quite a few times. It's just we want to increase the value of the network by giving the ownership of the network to people who are going to be like amazing at running it. So if you've got the founding member points, it's because you're already kind of great. So there's no you've already helped us increase the I mean, you've already worked on something significant, or you've trained yourself in a role, or it's the points will indicate really that you are they correlate to your effort effectively, or the results that we've seen from you. So yeah, so obviously no, you don't have to pay, and those will be more or less in the current system. The idea is that those will be more or less directly proportional, perhaps subject to some other like formula. So, but yeah, it should be more or less directly proportional to the amount of points you have will be how many mainnet tokens you will get. Yeah, so those are my questions. I don't know if there
Is that
were
a thing,
any...
by the way, that like people get an allocation, but they have to like pay to unlock the allocation?
I've never heard of that. But certainly that
Wouldn't
would be
surprise
pretty...
me in the crypto world, but
yeah.
like always some you know, some mechanism to like squeeze money out.
Yeah, so no, it's not like yes, not at all. It's not like a what would you call it? I guess you'd say private sale or something like that. No, it's nothing. It's not. It's just literally we are throwing tokens at people who've helped us grow the project, basically. So yeah, it's very... the idea is just if we have 50% of the network owned by people who've kind of demonstrated their high qualityness, then you know, it will be basically self-governing. It's just a good idea really to give that ownership to the people who've been useful and who we think are going to be the most effective on the mainnet governance, I guess. Yeah.
And for right now, like what are some activities that are sort of currently super relevant as far as founding members? Is it just the usual stuff, or anything?
Yeah, just the usual stuff. Yeah, bounties, roles. Yeah. I answer this question, I think, yeah, every call basically, but yeah, it's roles.
Well,
bounties.
yeah, I think there's even from my end, I think there's like a perhaps underlying assumption that like it's perhaps changing quite often,
Yeah.
or that like, but I guess that's not really the case. With that said, like if there's one activity that we haven't really talked about much, it's like we do want to attract other people who are interested in DAOs and are likely to become contributors to Joystream. So if you guys are part of other DAOs, or even if you want to make it a mission to like go and join other DAOs and sort of network and try to see and like spread the word, because it's in everybody's sort of best interest, I think that would be really useful, because that's where like I think other DAOs is where you're most likely to find other people who are likely to contribute to this one, because their level of awareness is the highest out of everybody. You don't have to explain to them what a DAO is. You don't have to explain how it works. You don't have to explain the shift in thinking that goes from working for a company to going to work for a DAO. So their level of awareness is super high. So those are going to be the lowest hanging fruit for Joystream to attract more high quality contributors. So yeah, if you guys are part of other DAOs too, I would love to know in the chat, like what are some DAOs that you are already part of, or that you're just sort of observing from afar? Would be interesting. And there's one more question here that showed up in the chat, so I'll answer that. And yeah, just a final notice, guys, if you want to ask us more questions, now would be the time to throw them in the chat. Otherwise, I'll answer this and we'll be pretty much done for the day. But The Good Father asks, since Robert's talking about investors, how much money do I need to have to become an investor in Joystream? If I have 100K, 1 million, 10 million, but I am alone without a fund, is there a chance that Jay's Genesis will talk to me? And will it be interesting to them? Will there be a public rounds in the future? Is there any information on this at the moment? So a couple of things in there. The last question I can answer first, which is no, there's no real public information out there. As far as sort of taking investment from people who aren't necessarily from a fund, all I can tell you is that's happened before. So I don't think it's a hard no on that front. And this is, perhaps Bidejo's expertise, but I have been talking to a few of them and I know a little bit about them. So I think there's a few things I can say without, messing anything up here. So there has been people who didn't come from a fund. There were some extraordinary circumstances there, I think, but I don't think it would be a hard no if you are not part of a fund, so to speak. As far as the amount, I don't have an exact figure for you. If you're actually interested in it, I believe we've closed the last round, but feel free to message me. I am CMO on Discord, and I'll put you in touch with Bidejo. And you never know, right? And the final question he had in there was, maybe that was it. Oh, will there be public rounds in the future? So who knows, man? Like it really depends. There are variables, right? Like we hope to go on mainnet and sort of disassemble JS Genesis and let the DAO run the platform. That is our intention, right? Sort of as quickly as we can without doing it prematurely, I guess. So if that ends up being longer and we want to take investments again, then I guess it could happen in theory. So never say never, but I don't think there's any plans for that at the moment. Cool. Control, I got to drop off. Well, that'll be all of us pretty soon. So again, guys, we're going to wrap up in just a few minutes. So feel free to throw in a question if you have one. Otherwise, we're going to see you soon. We did get a comment here. DAO Colony, platform for build another DAO. Oh, like that's very meta, right? DAO Colony. The best way to build your DAO. Colony makes it easy for people all over the world to build organizations. I think it's maybe like software that they provide. The complete DAO toolkit. Pretty cool. I'll check that out. All right. Yeah, I don't think there's other questions here. I have a hunch Ben doesn't have a ton to add. He doesn't want to prolong this any more than it needs to be. Fair enough. So I think we'll just wrap it up today. Again, we knew it was going to be a bit shorter. That's fine. We just wanted to keep the ball moving. So what will happen is we'll keep doing these. I believe next one we'll probably have a fully stacked team. That'll be 2 weeks from now. So 2022 on the 12th of January, we'll probably have the next one. So we'll keep you guys posted. Go out there, infiltrate some DAOs and spread the good old word of Joystream and try to have some one-on-one conversations with people. That's where you're really going to learn about what they're into and what they're looking for and that sort of thing. And very likely to perhaps find other people who would be interested in coming in and converting to the Joystream cult that we're working on. And they can hopefully contribute. Cool. Any final words from Ben or anybody? Otherwise, we'll wrap it up here today.
Yeah, I just say on the public or whatever private sales sort of thing that probably we would really not prefer people not focus on that. I mean, there is obviously a possibility. Maybe there's something like that would happen in the future, but like internally, we haven't really been talking about that at all. So there's not. No. I wouldn't put a big focus on that. If you want mainnet tokens, then the best way to get like a really like significant value of tokens is by just doing the founding member program, because we're giving it away for free. So then you don't have to, do a sale or anything, because we're like giving away the network basically. So
I agree.
I would go for that if that's what you're interested in.
I agree. I mean, people are still sleeping on this. We've given you all the numbers, guys. You can do the math. All right. Bidejo told you there's a $60 million valuation on the project, right? You were giving away 15% to the founding members. You can see how many founding members there are. You stand to make significant amount in that respect if you actually become a founding member and actually contribute to the project. So I agree. That's the way to go.
Great. Those would be my closing comments, I think. Yeah, definitely.
Fantastic. All right, everybody. Thanks for joining us today. Shorter one. We'll see you in Discord. We'll see you on Telegram. We'll see you in the next call. Have a good one. Talk to you soon.
Bye.
Ciao.